Hello and welcome to the second video on using chords in our improvising. So today we're looking at G major and just a quick reminder, if you haven't tuned your instrument, please go back to the tuning video and make sure that all your strings are in tune. So when we are finding the notes of a scale, where I do this every time. If we do it every single time, it should just become automatic, and then we really understand how our major scales work. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 are close, 5, 6, 7, 8 are close. The close notes are our semitones, so our major scale pattern is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, or gap, gap, close, gap, 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 close, or do, re, mi, fa are close, so, la, ti and do are close. Then we put in our alphabet letters. So we start with G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F and G. Now, I haven't put any accidentals in at this point. What we do is we go to the piano and check the pattern against the piano, and that will tell us what accidentals that we need, what chromatic notes we need to add in. So we've got G, A, B, C, 3 and 4 are close together, 5 is D, 6 is E, 7, we need a gap between 6 and 7, so we can't use an F, it needs to be an F sharp, and then 8 is our G. So we have an F sharp here, which tells us that the key signature for G major has 1 sharp and it's an F sharp. Okay, so we've done all of that before in our scale sessions, but we're just going to do a quick warm up using our G major scale. Now, the simplest way to do a G major scale, we're going to do 1 octave, is to start on our open strings. So violins, it's open 1, high 2, 3, open 1, high 2, 3 on the G and the D string. Cellists, you do open 1, 3, 4, open 1, 3, 4 on the G and the D string. But if you're feeling more advanced, you can do the upper octave where we have different fingerings, or if you're starting to learn third position, you can find the high G, first finger on the D string. This is for the violins. And have a go doing third position in octaves with what I'm doing. So I'm doing the simplest open string one, but you know where you're at with your playing. If you want to do an octave above, if you want to try a different position, that's balls in your court, you have a go at those. So we're going to do long semi-breve notes first, just to get our bowing warmed up, trying to keep a nice tone, keeping our sounding point a similar point in the string. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Next time through we're going to work in thirds, so I'm going to do a minim for each, 2 minims on each beat, so each note, so I'm going to have 2, 2, A, and then you come in. So when I get to the third note of my scale, to the B, I'll say now, I'd like you to come in with the same bowing that I'm doing, but you're going to be a third behind me, so we should be in harmony. So I'll go first. 1, 2, off I go. kept going for those extra 2 bars just so that you've got harmony. So if you're with me, that's why I'm keeping going a little bit at the end. Okay, and the last one we're going to do is make sure we have explored all of our bows. So we're going to do quaver, 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 quaver. So that's the bowing pattern. Feeling the transfer of weight of the bow in your hand as you have a nice loose bow hold. Okay, I'm going to do again 4 beats for each note, and I'm going to say now for you to come in 2 bars after I do so that you can play in harmony with me. So ready, steady, off I go. Get ready now. Right, so we've got our scale in our fingers, hopefully, however you've chosen to do it. So now we've got our palette of notes, like a painter's palette, to be able to create our colours and our chords. So we so far have been doing our tonic triad chords. Now tonic is our first degree of the scale, and we make up a chord by using notes 1, 3 and 5. So if you start on an odd note, you use the next 2 odd notes up. So 1, 3 and 5. So we have G, B and D. Okay, and that is going to be our chord 1, and we use a Roman numeral 1. Okay, now in our other video we had a look at, we called it dominant, the dominant chord. Now the dominant chord is built up the same way, so we stack the notes on top of each other, and it's based on chord number 5, note number 5. We start on note number 5 of our scale, and we call this the dominant, D-O-M, which means it's a sort of strong chord. And dominant chord, the way that the dominant chord makes us feel in music is like a big signpost wanting to chuck us back to the tonic. So when we hear a dominant chord, we feel this sort of expectation that then when we arrive at the tonic chord, it sort of feels really like logical in our musical brains, in the Western canon. It's stuff that you will hear a lot in pop songs, and it's Western pop songs, and it's a lot of the things that you will hear a lot in sort of classical music, going between these sort of chords. So we have the same, we go from 5, 7, so F sharp, and then the next one we'd go back would be to, so we have to skip one, so we'd go 5, 7, and then we go up to A. So D, F sharp, A makes that triad. So we're still building them in the same way as we built the tonic triads. It's just that we're starting on note 5 of the scale instead of note 1. Okay, so that's our dominant chord, our chord 5. And so the new chord that we're looking at today is chord 4. Okay, and that is here. So the note 4 of the scale is a C. So to build a C chord, we do C, E, and G. And if you saw these notes on a stave, if they were these type of notes, the the chord would look like this, and if they were these type of notes, the chord would look like this. So basically you work out what note number 1 is, and then build the other 2 above it, number 5, number 4, and build the other 2 above. Okay, so we've got C, E, and G are our chord number 4. Now, that's where we're going to stop. We're just going to do those 3 chords, because actually you can create an awful lot of music just having 3 chords. Quite a lot of the Beatles songs are very much based on 3 chords only, and lots of other sort of boy band, girl band, rock songs can use these 3 chords and actually still create really meaningful, fabulous, creative music, okay, with a sort of limited palette. So that's what we're going to be using today. So we're going to use them alongside our rhythms, and when you mix up chords in certain orders, we call them a chord progression. So one chord progresses to another, progresses to another. So we're going to have chord 1, then we're going to have chord 4, then we're going to have chord 5, and then chord 5 likes to fall back to chord 1. All right. And just to help you, I'm not going to write all of the letter names in. We're going to practice the chords individually in a second. We're going to have G, then we're going to have C, then we're going to have D, and then we're going to go back to G. Here we go. That is our chord progression. Okay. So let's just get to grips with those chords individually first and get them under our fingers so we feel happy before we try and switch between them. So first chord is a G major chord. We have G, B and a D. So we're just going to use these 4 tar beats, and I'm going to do 4 Gs, 4 Bs, 4 Ds and 4 Gs again. Okay, and you join in with me. Ready, steady, off we go. So that's sort of the simplest version we can do. You can stick on just Gs all the way through if you really, really want to, but that's a fairly easy. Now, what we'll do is we're going to choose 2 notes for each 4 beats. Okay, so fix 2 notes in your head, have a go at those, and then choose another 2 notes based on G, B, D. Okay, so we're going to do 4 bars of this pattern. So ready, steady, off we go. And then the last time through, we're going to do 4 bars worth of this rhythmic pattern, and we're going to use all of the notes, G, B and D, in any order that you want to. Okay, you can keep it simpler than I'm doing, you can go more advanced than I'm doing. Okay, you ready? Ready, steady, off we go. So now we're going to get used to our chord 4. We've seen all of these chords when we've been experimenting with them as tonic triads. So the notes shouldn't feel weird, it's just now we're trying to combine them together. So our C chord here isn't our tonic triad, it's our chord number 4, okay? And we're going to use C, E and G. So let's use this rhythm. We're going to do 4 beats of C, 4 beats of E, 4 beats of G, and back to 4 beats of C. So ready, steady, off we go. Now you can stick with that pattern if you want to. I'm now going to choose 2 notes for each set of 4 beats based on a C chord. So ready, steady, off we go. Okay, now we're going to have a look at a D chord. So we've got this rhythmic pattern, T, 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 ta. And we're going to do the most simple version. So we're going to do 4 beats on a D, 4 beats on an F sharp, and 4 beats on an A. So we're looking at chord number 5 now. So we're going to do, so ready, steady, off we go. Okay, so now we're going to do a pattern where we choose 2 notes from this chord for each of the 4 beats. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 bars of 4 beats. Ready, steady, off we go. And then the last one we're going to do with our D is where we do the rhythm, we do 4 with the rhythm 4 times through and use any notes from the D major chord that we want. Okay, off we, ready, steady, off we go. Okay, and then when in our pattern here we would then play this rhythm with a G chord. So we're going to do one easy version through where we do 4 bars of this rhythm using the notes from the G chord, but we choose 1 note for 4 beats and then another note for the next 4 beats, another note for the next 4 beats, another note for the next. To keep it really simple. We're then going to change gear with our brains and do 4 bars of a C chord. So C, and then another note for the next 4 bars, another note, yeah, okay? And so I will say change at the end of every 4 bars, and you have to change onto a new chord. But remember, we're keeping it really simple, just 1 note per each 4 beats, just so that our brains can catch up with ourselves and we're not panicking. Okay, so let's start with our G chord. So, ready, steady, off we go. And change C chord. So we have to be able to hold these 3 packets of notes in our head as we're playing and be ready to sort of click gear as we go through each set of four bars. As I said, it's more important to keep going. If you end up playing 4 bars of just G, 4 bars of just C, and that's fine, absolutely fine. Let's go for a medium version now. So we're going to pick 2 notes to play for each 4 beats, but we're staying within the G chord for 4 bars, Yeah, so we're choosing 2 notes to play for each pattern, and just be as adventurous as you feel it is ready for you. So ready, steady, off we go. Change to C. Change to D. Change to G. Okay, so the next version of this that we're going to do is we're going to use all the notes for each set of 4. So we're going to do 4 lots of this rhythm, 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 but it's totally up to you. You've got to keep within the chords, but you can use whichever notes you like. Remember, keep it simple, and do the same versions if you've done already, if you're feeling like that's the level you're at. Okay, so ready, steady, off we go. Change to C. Change to D. Change to G. Okay, and then finally we're going to do one more version where I'm going to keep what I'm playing exactly the same as I've just done. Well, you know, making it up as I go along, but the same idea. And then this time you don't have to follow my rhythmic pattern at all. So you can make up your own rhythms that go over the top. So you might just do long notes, 4-beat semi-breve notes, using notes of the chord. You might use minims, you might use some of the dotted rhythms that we've been looking at. You might use some semiquavers, totally up to you. So we're in 4/4, and you do 4 bars of G, 4 bars of C, 4 bars of D, and 4 bars of G. I will meet you at the end. I will say change. I'm going to stick with these rhythms, but now we're adding a bit of rhythmic improvisation at the same time as melodic improvisation, so good luck. Okay, so ready, steady, off we go. Change to C. Change to D. That is our first bit of experimenting with 3 different chords. Okay, we have chord 1, which is our tonic chord. We have chord 5, which is our dominant chord, and then chord 4, which is our subdominant chord. Now, you do not need to know all of those words at this stage, okay? We can call them chord 1, chord 4, and chord 5. Generally, when you have a chord 5, at the end of a piece, you'd go from chord 5 to chord 1. So as I say, when you get a piece of music, sometimes they will have these Roman numeral chords written above it, and what you can do is you can now work out what those actual chords, you work out the key you're in, work out what number of the scale, and then you build a little snowman, you know, root position chord from that note, and then you can work out actually what chords go with that piece. Or they will have the notes, you know, in a piece that you might be playing, it might say C, G, D above the bar, and that will say that that bar could be accompanied by a G chord or a D chord or a C chord. And now you know how to play those chords, you can actually make up your own accompaniments to pieces of music. And you know, it's a really fantastic skill to have, because it's just a really sociable way of being able to make music spontaneously. Right, I hope you enjoyed that. Keep practicing your chords, maybe add this bit into your scale practice and work out chords 1, 4 and 5 for all of the scales that you're doing. That's definitely a good bit of homework, and I'll see you soon.